Hello, hello, precious ones, and welcome each and all from wherever you are. Here in this space and time, we welcome you. It is our pleasure to be here to serve you. And to those who come from afar, know that your anticipation and expectation is met. With the same passion and intensity with which you approach this evening, even if you've simply walked across the street to be here, we meet you, and we are present at the level of your expectation, at the level of the expectation of your higher self. And we connect with you, and we shed our love abroad over you. And we've already established this connection, and you are already experiencing it. And we do have a nearly unlimited capacity to touch, to transform, to treat, to heal, to give freedom, to assist you in any way, in any manner, for whatever is of importance and a priority for you. We are available to answer your questions. We rarely say no to a question. There are times when we will refrain from answering because it is not in your best interest. But to the large degree, we are simply here to meet the need of your heart. Your questions represent what is important to you. Your questions represent what matters, where you feel stuck, where you want to be free, and we are here for your assistance. Now, have the expectation, even in this moment, that the person you were when you came in the door is different than the person who will leave here. And as you remain in this energetic stew we are bringing, your personal level of consciousness is rising. And we have a gift for you, a holiday gift. Well, we have many, but we will start with this one. Many people like to imbibe during the holiday season, do they not? Well, there is these favored drinks of the holiday season are called spirits sometimes. Well, we have our own kind of drink of the Holy Spirit. So have fun and imbibe and drink up, and go ahead and let yourself be joyful tonight. And this vessel is a symbol and a sign of this. She does not drink or take any sort of pills of any kind. And the reason for that is that we have asked her to be a symbol of sobriety, and also show the wonders of what can be done by spirit. Spirit is a glorious wine to comfort, to warm, to bring lightheartedness, to release tension, to relax. We have been saying quite frequently through this vessel lately, R&R, 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 R&R. Relax and release, relax and release. Rest and receive, rest and receive, rest and receive. If you are in the American culture, you are taught to work hard, and then work harder, and then work a little harder still, and then you will finally be happy. And this is nonsense. Rest and receive. All good things come to you from your Father, Mother, God, who is the Father, Mother of all angels, such as ourselves. Yes, we shared through this vessel. Yes, we can tonight This very moment, at whatever moment this message is being heard, we can be there for up to 159,000 souls on the planet for whatever it is that is needed on their behalf. We will be present and we'll bring an answer, a change, a shift, a miracle, a freedom, a witness to them. We have that capacity. But there is one who knows all things, and is unlimited in her capacity to fulfill every need of your heart, every need of your heart and your body, your mind, your spirit. We are simply fingers on the hand of spirit, on the arm of God. That is all. Is the finger different from the hand and the hand different from the arm? Well, yes, but they are all connected. They are all one. They all operate together in a singular function. Would you agree? If you need to scratch your nose, your fingers, your hand, your arm move involuntarily to scratch your itch. This is how we work with Holy Spirit and Source. This is how we work with Holy Spirit and your Father, Mother, God. We are the fingers to the hand, to the arm. Now, there's lots to learn tonight. We are present. We don't disappear or go anywhere when this vessel speaks. Allow yourself to go up, 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 up into higher levels of consciousness during this time. When the evening is finished, calm down slowly, 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 slowly. Guarding your heart and mind as you descend from these higher states of consciousness, grounding yourself, resting. And guard your energies for a few hours afterwards, please. For you're going to be wide open during this time and receiving, wide open and receiving. Set your intention for what you want and receive it. Good. All right, everybody feeling good? This is kind of like it's a really different vibe tonight. It feels really sacred or something. Do you guys feel that? Woo. Okay. We'll save some time for questions at the end. All right. Judas Guide to Survive the Holidays. Survive and thrive. We want to thrive, right? So isn't it amazing that this time is such a mixed bag of joy and happiness and being with friends and doing things we love. And then also it can be really, really hard too, right? It can be lonely, it can be painful. Family dynamics can be wonderful, and they can also be the worst, right? So it's a really, there's a big span of where we can fall on the spectrum. So take a moment and check in with yourself, your higher self. Not your mind, but your heart, right? Heart leading the way, thoughts melting to the heart. Where are you with this holiday? Are you looking forward to it? Are you dreading it? A little of both. Think about what's on your calendar. Think about what you want to do, what you don't want to do. If 0 was, I have no resistance whatsoever, I'm thrilled, totally at peace, feeling great about the holiday. And then 10 was, oh, ugh, I hate it. It's the worst. I can't stand it. I dread it. Where do you fall on that scale between 0 and 10? Got the number? 0 is no resistance. 10 is a lot of resistance. Okay, and we'll see if we can move that close to and hopefully a 0 tonight. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do as loving high consciousness people is be aware that not everybody's happy in the holidays. There's a lot of people that really, really struggle. They're very alone and they're really hurting. And that could be us too. And maybe you relate, you know, doing this, having this kind of life. When you get to the stage where you're at a meeting like this, you're a pretty high-flying person, right? If you're attracted to this kind of gathering, you're moving up personally in your level of consciousness. And so likely some friends and family have dropped away, or you don't feel, you're not able to relate to them in the same way. Things are different. Does anybody relate? Am I talking, preaching to the choir? Even when you get to this green ray space, getting near the blue ray space, right along this line here, statistically, if you're in the green ray space, you're in the top 1% of consciousness in the globe. So think about that. So 1 in 100. You might find one person in 100 that you could relate to and have some commonality with and really would feel like a kindred spirit. So that in itself can cause some feelings of loneliness. 60% of adults feel happy when they think about spending time with friends and family over the holidays, meaning 33% don't. 47% feel loved around the holidays. But think about that. That means 53% of people out there, they don't feel loved during the holidays. 1 out of 2. 46% feel joy. There again, half of the people are not. In 2020, which was a really hard year, especially for our 3 friends from New York and everybody there, 70% of people felt very lonely during the holidays that season, and 10% of them felt extremely lonely. 41% are worried about a friend or a family member feeling lonely. You know, tough decisions to make sometimes around the holidays. This holiday, I was here with my kids and my grandkids. We had a wonderful time. My sweet little mom, who lives out of town, she's in hospice. I couldn't be there with her and be here. It's an awful decision to have to make, right? And I cried that morning because I felt bad that I couldn't be there with her. So 8 in 10 Americans say that holiday expectations and events cause them increased stress. Okay, so we all need to, as spiritual people, stop and ask the question, why are we doing this to ourselves? I mean, really, why? Right? Why? Because it's what we do. Because it's what we do. That's kind of a dumb answer, isn't it? 3 out of 10 people say they get less sleep around the holidays. A third say that their physical and mental health worsens in November, December, and January. We're doing something wrong, folks. Time to question it. Half of Americans, say that financial issues cause their main stress during the holidays. And for what, right? Wait till you guys get to be our age. Consolidated households, more than one house, and businesses and properties, and just overrun with freaking stuff. And it's just stupid. It's just crazy. Why do we do this to ourselves? You know, we were watching. We love to watch Itchy Boots on YouTube. She's a biker. She travels all around the world, and she was in some third world country where people still cook, you know, with a fire. And we were like, yeah, that looks. We could live like that. Let's do that. I don't think I want to go that far, but really, I mean, you know, it's kind of. I remember when I was 16, I went to Dominican Republic for a mission trip with some other teenagers. And the people there had dirt floors and, you know, tin and cardboard houses and a television, of course, and cable. But you know, the kids ran around with no shoes, and the kids were so happy. And I remember that just blew my mind. I was 16. I was like, why are these kids happy? They're so poor. Well, they were actually genuinely happy. I was the one that was kind of screwed up, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, why is it that I was 16 with everything that could be afforded to me in life as a middle class kid, yet I was already depressed and on Prozac at 16? And yet I, in my Christian mentality, was going on my mission trip with my Christian friends to save the people in Dominican Republic who were happy. See how screwed up that is? So, and if all of that's not enough, then we have our family issues, which can either bring out the best in us or the worst, right? Unresolved issues, old hurts, unfinished business, things that are left unsaid, right? Family secrets. You know, I have a fantasy, you guys, I've mentioned several times, you know, my mom is in hospice. I have a fantasy that I'm going to stand up at her funeral home and hold everybody accountable for the family secrets that everybody has been stuffing. You know, that my mom didn't tell me till I was 45. Horrible, awful things that she should have never been through. And not only did she go through it, but she went through it alone, right? Differing political, moral, religious debates at the holidays. Y'all know anything about those? Lots of memories buried in the subconscious, and they're just spring-loaded, like gunpowder in a gun, ready to be triggered. That's where we get this word trigger, right? You know, if you don't have any gunpowder in your gun, there's nothing to be triggered. But we do. We have hurts and pains and wounds and old memories and things, and they can get triggered when we're with family. So Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, go home for Thanksgiving. Isn't that right? I mean, that is the deal, because Chuck and I have fine-tuned and finally crafted our life to be insular and protective of negative energies. We don't really deal with that stuff, right? We meditate a lot. We eat well. We do what we want to do. We spend time with people we want to spend time with. We do the work, high consciousness work, and high fields of consciousness. And we don't really interact a lot with negativity. But then there's family stuff, right? So there's two enemies we have in the holidays. It's expectations and it's memory. Expectations and memory. So let's talk about those a little bit. Judo's talk about expectations a little. Yes, let's talk about expectations. There's expectations of yourself, expectations of others, and then there's cultural expectations overlaid upon this time of year. Let's talk about these cultural expectations. When you turn on the television, you see a husband and wife giving one another a brand new car with a big red bow on the top. And this is the ultimate in a Christmas gift. And yet they don't seem particularly thrilled with it, happy momentarily. It seems like just what should happen. The expectation is very marginal and normal. What is this communicating to your subconscious mind? You are all being bombarded with images and ideas of what is appropriate. What is appropriate? Look at the families. The families on the television are happy and smiling. They have no problems at all. And it's all because they're wearing the deal of the day, a $20 hoodie. Do you agree? But understand that there's so much of this type of programming in your culture that it's very passive and unconscious. If you have food to eat, good healthy food, water to drink, shelter, if you have loving connection with someone, then you have everything you need. And you might get what you want and find out it's not at all what you want. You might have some momentary happiness and then it will pass, we assure you. And you already know this. But yet, it's still a hamster wheel of the ego in which most people in this culture will participate. When this vessel was a young mother raising children, it was her practice this time of year to go through the toy box of her children and clean out many things and give them away in order to make room for all of the new stuff that she was purchasing for her children for Christmas. And she remembers looking at the things she was giving away and thinking, wow, this is the thing that my child told me 12 months ago they absolutely could not live without, and was wrapped carefully under the tree with much expectation, but now it lay broken and unused in the bottom of the toy box. And in fact, it likely had not seen the light of day for 9 or 10 months. Can you see the fruitlessness of it? Are you aware? Now, we're not saying don't give gifts. If you want to give a gift for someone, do it. Do it with love, do it with heart, do it with generosity, do it with intention. And do it so that the moment can bring love. But don't be deceived about what you're doing, you see. Don't deceive yourself, you see. Know the motive of your own heart. Give what you give in love. This vessel had a Christmas tradition that she had for many years. When her children were first born, the year her first child was born, 30 years ago now, she bought a small Christmas ornament to commemorate the specialness of this first Christmas. And every year after that, she bought every child of hers an ornament that commemorated something about what they had done that year. And this was a very special tradition to her, and everyone seemed to enjoy it, and she put a lot of effort into it. Until one day when she was with the friend of one of her grown children, and the friend opened her trunk, and there inside the trunk, stuffed amongst a bunch of other stuff, was a brown paper sack, and in the paper sack, lo and behold, were all the collection of her child's beloved Christmas ornaments, tossed in the back of a friend's trunk. And so all of these things that you stress yourself out about, but do they matter? Do they matter to the other? Or are they just a paper bag in the trunk of the car, you see? Or broken bits in the bottom of the toy box? Material life will keep you in the lower chakras, red, orange, and yellow ray. These are the areas of the human experience. Nothing wrong with the human experience. You are here to have a human experience. That is why you are here. That is why you're not in an angel body like we are. But understand that, that what holds you to these and keeps you from being your more enlightened, higher self, your more loving, joyful, peaceful self is being tied to the material realm. You see, think carefully. It was the billionaire Howard Hughes who died alone and terrified, long fingernails, long hair, germophobic, afraid to go out, no connections with anyone. And all his money and all his wealth did nothing for him. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So enough about that, but begin to question what you're doing. Why am I doing this? Do I want to keep doing this? Am I doing this? What are my reasons? What's my motivation? Am I doing it because I'm afraid this person won't love me if I don't do something for them? Do you feel obligated? Do you feel guilt? Are your feet and your body in the place you really want to be? If you knew that someone coming to your house really didn't want to be there, would you want them there? Really? Would you want them there? Drop your expectations. Turn in your RSVP with a hearty yes, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait, I'm going to be there. Or a no, I won't be there. Good. Woo, sorry, it's a little heavy tonight. You guys doing okay? You know, hostess gifts, right? Stress yourself about those. No, just look your hostess in the eye and say, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me, right? Or buy a hostess gift if you really want to. But do it from a place of joy, right? And love. Made from scratch cookies that you slave over for hours in the kitchen? Maybe, or maybe just bring a container of grapes because there's somebody like me there that just wishes there was something besides sugar to eat, right? Don't stress yourself. Christmas cards. I was looking through my Christmas card list. I was like, who is this person? I couldn't even remember who the person was in my Christmas card list. What am I doing? You know, if you want to do Christmas cards, put a loving intention and blessing in them, right? A high blessing in them. And if you don't do it. And pick up the phone instead and have a long, luxurious call with somebody you haven't talked to in a long time that you really miss. Ask yourself, is this really meaningful to me and to the other? And you know what? Even if it's not meaningful at all to the other person, if it still means something to you, do it anyway. I'll still be buying my kids their Christmas ornaments this year because it means something to me, right? Even if they wind up in their trunk. What will happen if I don't do this? See, some of these things that we're doing, there's a fear underneath it. That we're not going to be loved, not going to be liked, not going to measure up. Fog, remember this one, F-O-G, fear, obligation, guilt. Anything we do out of fear, obligation, or guilt is going to put us in a funk. Free yourself from expectations, other people's, your own, and cultural expectations. If you want to show up to the party in your sweats with no makeup on, do it. Right? And I don't know what it is for you. There's no judgment here, right? I don't know what's going to set you free. You know. Maybe what would set you free is to spend 5 hours in the kitchen making those gorgeous cookies for somebody who really won't appreciate them, and you're doing it out of such a deep place of love, right? I don't know what your recipe for freedom is, but you do, because you feel it right in here. So one of the ways we've learned here, if you're taking the course, you'll learn muscle testing, which, you know, Chuck and I do tons of that, and we muscle test about everything. But if you haven't learned that skill, it's no big deal. You can just put your hand on your heart and you can say, am I doing this, out of high service and love? And you'll feel a yes or a no. When you're in that fog, you feel contracted. Your body feels, you just feel this kind of emotional anxiety or constipation. But when you're coming from love, you just feel open and relaxed. You don't expect any sort of outcome from it. One of the main ways that we keep ourselves in this green ray heart space is just to release outcomes, right? Do what you want to do and don't expect anything, right? Think about it. If Hanukkah comes or Christmas Day comes, if you didn't know what day it was, if you had amnesia and you had no clue what day it was, would you be upset about anything that happened? No. Chuck taught me this. He would say, it's just another day. I was like, what? Are you kidding? It's our anniversary. You better get your shit together. It's just another day. No, he does great on anniversary. But, it's really true, right? It's really true. I learned as a young teenager, I hated Valentine's Day. I hated it. Because it's somewhere in those first few Valentines, I just never had a boyfriend, and it was just really sucky, and nobody brought me flowers, and nobody said all the stuff that we were raised, as Disney princesses to expect, the Cinderella story and all of that. And so I hated Valentine's Day. I dreaded it. And so then I began to elicit more of that because of that judgment and expectation. I remember the first year I was married, many decades ago. Valentine's Day came, no card, no phone call, no nothing. About 5 o'clock, I get a call. Oh, honey, I forgot it was Valentine's Day. Should I stop and get you something? I'm like, are you, what? What is this phone call? Click. And I think my first Valentine's Day with Chuck, was one of those too. Like, no text, no phone call, no nothing. Well, because I was eliciting that, because I had a judgment that I hated Valentine's Day. So I was attracting that kind of stuff, right? Does that make sense to anybody? How you attract things like that? Question your traditions. For many years, one of my extended families on one side of my family always had these big get-togethers for the holidays, and they would buy these $5 gifts and do a white elephant gift exchange, and do, sweetie. They would do stocking stuffers and that kind of thing with just little dollar store things in them and all that. And they would do the white elephant gift, and sometimes they would almost nearly get in a brawl. And it would just get really heated and nasty. And so, we would go every year because that's just what you do, right? But these were my cousins and extended family, and I only saw them once a year, and I never talked to them in between. So we really didn't have any relationship. And so I made a decision as a young mom, I want to stay home for the holidays. I don't want to be on the road. I want to be with my kids and my immediate family. Well, you would have thought that I hung them by their toenails or crucified them or something. It was just horrible that I made this decision. But you know what? I look back on it and I'm still glad I made that decision, and I still don't go because I want to be with my kids and my grandkids. So do what's right for you, right? Now, what I'm not saying is ruthlessly cut people out of your life, right? Almost every week, I have sessions with moms and dads whose adult kids have cut them out of their lives, and grown kids who've cut their parents out of their lives. And I can tell you it is very, very painful. Whether you're the parent or the child, is extremely painful. And so I would say if you have to cut someone out of your life to that degree, it can't be all about them. Sorry. There's got to be some hurt, unresolved hurt and wounding in you that need some love, need some care, need some assistance. I could be wrong about that, but I haven't run across that yet. So, what about these traditions? Do we enjoy them? If we love them, keep them. If they've lost their meaning, you can give them up, but be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. So maybe if you have a really difficult relationship with a parent or a spouse or a sister or something, your visit might be brief, right? It might be brief, and that's okay. Let go of your expectations of yourself, of being the perfect daughter, wife, spouse, mother, grandmother. For Thanksgiving, I told my kids this year, I only have the energy to either spend time connecting with you guys and catching up or cooking. I don't have the energy for both. So I'm ordering the food and you guys can do the dishes. And it took a little, I've grown, Chuck will tell you, I've grown over the years. This year I was able to be 95% letting it all go and just sitting and spending time with them. And I let them heat up the food, and I did do some of the dishes because I got a little bored. Get creative. Have the holiday that you want. Reinvent it. If you know that you're going to be alone, make a plan right now. Right now, this week, make your plan. Call your friend. Set up what you're going to do. Tell somebody like Chuck and I, we're going to be alone for Christmas. Can we come over? Okay? Reach out and ask for help. And if you still aren't coming up with something, go to the homeless shelter and serve. And there's nothing better, right? Every Thanksgiving that goes by, I say to myself, why did I do all that? I think I want to go to the homeless shelter. And maybe one of these years I'll actually do it, take my whole family down there and serve people. All right. Memory triggers. When you understand that when you're dealing with family, when you were in your mother's womb, what's the first thing you heard? When you were in your mother's womb, you heard your mother's voice, right? It's the first memory that you have. And the way that we've learned to live the life that we're living right now is the memories, our memories. That's why we're doing what we do. Only 5% of our life is driven by our conscious mind. 95% of it is driven by our unconscious mind. What is in the unconscious mind? What's in the unconscious mind is your memories. Okay, so when you think about a little baby that's sitting in the high chair and mommy gives it a plate of food, and it picks up some of the food and misses its mouth, and it's in its hair, in its eyes, and its face. You remember that stage? Mm-hmm. And they just miss their mouth altogether, but they keep trying, and eventually they get some in their mouth. Mm-hmm. And then later they're even able to use a spoon, right? So every time they're trying, that's a memory. That didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that worked. Okay, I'm figuring it out now. So our life, everything we're doing, all the choices we're making is based on our memories of what we've done up until now, what's worked and what hasn't worked. It's called learning theory. So we're constantly learning. But we've sublimated so much of that down into our subconscious mind, and we're just doing stuff and not thinking about why we're doing what we're doing. So understand that if you're going to be triggered, your family's going to do it, right? Your mom and your dad are always going to be the big ones. The big hurts, they're always going to be mom and dad hurts. And some of you had really good parents and still have hurts. And some of you had the worst of the worst of the worst. You know, your parents did things to you that are unconscionable. Mm-hmm. And so when you're with your family or connected with your family or thinking about your family, all that backlog of that 95% of your subconscious is being triggered. So understand, some families, I would say most families, when they get together, there are two egos interacting. And there may not even be any heart interactions at all. You know, when my family is speaking to me, some of my family that aren't spiritually awakened, they are relating to me as the perfect child, the good student, the talented one, whatever your MO was, right? I watch people when they relate with my son, they relate to the black sheep of the family. And you just hear them saying things, you know, just evoking all the memories of everything he's ever done since he was 2 years old, from the first time he's acted out or threw a temper tantrum till, you know, and they can't see him as anything. So you love on her, sweetie. Can you love on her back there? And they're just only relating to this concept of this role. This is the black sheep, right? Yeah. Yeah. We just give her some love. So we keep going. So let's just address that right now. Do you know what your role is? What is the role that you played with your mom, with your dad, with your family? Were you the black sheep? Were you the sick child, the frail one? Were you the great student, the perfect child that never ruffled anybody's feathers? Some of you have spent your whole life acting perfect, and you just want to have a big fuck you with your family. You know, and you really kind of maybe need to do that, right? But see, these are ego roles that we have. We're the good kid, we're the addicted kid, we're the whatever. And so if your parents are not awakened, if they're living in these red, orange, yellow rays, they can't see you. And isn't that a big, huge pain? Isn't that a big hurt? There's something in your soul that knows my parents or my family or my siblings are not relating to the real me. They're relating to an egoic idea of a role that I've played, but that is not who I am, right? Does that ring true for anybody? Bye, sweetie. Okay, good. All right, I'm just gonna listen, see where we go from here. All right, everybody feeling good? All right, let's just do a quick 2 minutes before you go. Let's set our intention for the holiday. Okay, so we're gonna replace what we removed with something great. So think in your mind, well, how do you want to be during the holiday? One that I'm using a lot right now is I'm grateful and I'm at peace. But you pick the one that you want to have to be true for you, your state of being for the holiday. Your I am statement. I'm connected, I'm happy, I'm joyful. I don't know what it is. So pull it up. You got it? Okay. Judah asks you to tag and treat this statement. Ask you to energize it with your angelic power. I ask that you would make it true, 100% true in the inner being. I ask that you would clear anything in opposition to this statement, anything that's contradictory in the memory structure or the circumstance. I ask that all the parts in your inner being be aligned with this statement. And any protective or controlling parts that have resistance to this statement, I would ask if you would please lend some trust and some faith to the superconscious and relax. Superconscious, I ask you to treat anything, any memories, any parts, any predispositions, any judgments, any belief systems that are in opposition to this statement about the holidays? Mm-hmm. Good, 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 good. So you might want to write that statement down and keep it ahead of you. And for those of you who muscle test, if you want to take this sheet with you, you don't have to muscle test necessarily, but when you get in a pinch or a jam or you feel stressed over the holidays, just read through and pick one thing from the list that you want to do, and hopefully it'll get you back to center. Thank you so much for coming. It's a blessing for you to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love.